Welcome back to Benny's Take. I'm your girl Benny, and listen, today we're gonna be talking about the new movie, the #1 movie on Netflix, the movie Straw, starring is it starring or starring? Is it starring? Are they starring or are they starring? Either they're starring or they're starring, but they're starring or starring Taraji P. Henson, one of my faves, incredible actress. This is a Tyler Perry movie, so we're gonna talk all about it, all of the things that I enjoyed, all of the things that I'm just kind of like. But before we get into all that, please go ahead and subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. Listen, your girl is on a journey to 50,000 subscribers, and in my last video, we done reached 12,000, and I was very excited. I still am. 12,000 people, that's a lot of people. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. Okay, that's a lot of people tuned in for the Woman of God on this here channel. Thank y'all so much. And today I noticed that it's gonna say 12.1. So we done added a little 0.1 for the people of God. I'm so excited. Thank y'all so much. Please continue to subscribe. Please continue to engage with my content. Watch my video till the end. You know, comment, share, like, do all of the things. And I've been appreciating all your comments. On YouTube, I do my best to respond to every comment. So definitely, you know, leave me a comment. Let's talk. Let's discuss all the things that, you know, we're talking about on the channel. So definitely subscribe, okay? And let's get into this movie that, honestly, I don't even think I still have the words. I watched this movie 2 nights ago with my husband and my sister. And I feel like I've just been trying to gather my jaw from the floor. Literally. Is this a safe space? Like, is my channel a safe space for the women of God? I'm just asking. Okay? Because sometimes the truth ain't gonna set you free. Sometimes the truth gonna have your edges dragged online by the people of God. Is this a safe space for the women of God? Am I gonna find refuge if I share my thoughts, my praise, my feedback, and just like my honest opinion of the movie Straw? Is this a safe space? I'm just asking, can we come together and actually talk honestly? Or can we tell the truth and shame the devil? Can we? The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Can we do that for the people of God? Because I've seen the commentary online. I've seen the commentary online. And I'm just kind of like, is Pinocchio in the building? Is Pinocchio in the building? Like, some of y'all noses are extending this way. Because, you know, mine extends this way, right? Mine goes from side to side. Some of y'all getting your Pinocchio on, and it's going front and center. Right? Who is lying? Where is Pinocchio? Not here. We just check. So who lying online? Because one thing about me is I already told myself I'm gonna accept a good brother for the genre that he creates, right? Like Mr. Tyler Perry. I'm a huge fan. Very much a huge fan. Been a huge fan for a minute. Okay, I'm talking about since I was younger. Since like the plays. I've been watching Mr. Tyler Perry since like the plays. I've been watching, you know, I've watched all of his My Dear movies, all of the earlier movies. Like, I've watched all of them, like Acrimony, you know, Why Did I Get Married? Like, all of the movies that you can think of, I've watched it. And eventually I was just kind of like, okay, so this is, you know, this is his lane. This is his lane, right? This is his genre, okay? And if I no longer, you know, if I'm always gonna have like feedback to give, perhaps I have outgrown the movies, right? His style of movies always give off like, you know, telenovela. He always gives off like very much like soap operas and stuff like that, which I've also watched and I've enjoyed many a times. But there comes a time Okay, at the right time, there comes a time when you're just kind of like, you know what? I think I'm tired of this, right? And his last movie, I believe that I watched was oh my God. His last movie that I actually watched and reacted to, I believe was Mia Culpa, the one with Kelly Rowland. That one I watched and reacted to. And I had also watched whatchamacallit, the six triple something, the one with Kerry Washington. I adore Kerry Washington. I believe she's a phenomenal actress. So anything with her in it, I'm going to watch. So I watched that one too. And even that, I was just kind of like, the movie felt rushed. The movie felt like it just was jumping a little too much. The movie didn't feel cohesive. And at that point, I was just kind of like, you know what? It might be time for me to go ahead and tap out. It might be time for me to go ahead and just like leave it alone. So when the show, I think like Beauty in Black or something like that came out, I was just kind of like, I'm not even gonna do this to myself. So I've never really watched the show. But this one, y'all online was talking about how like, dang, this the movie. This the movie. You got to watch this for the people of God. This the movie. And I'm like, dang, this the movie? And y'all was like, yeah, girl, this the movie. You got to watch the movie. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, girl, you got to go ahead and watch the movie. So what I did, tuned in online. Tuned in on the Netflix. Okay, I think like 2 days ago, I tuned in. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and watch the movie and see what the people are talking about. Because obviously, if all these people are saying this, I don't want to miss out, right? And again, you got Taraji P. Henson. I'm gonna want to support, not for nothing. Taraji P. Henson is a phenomenal actress. Phenomenal actress. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch. And it was at exactly 3 minutes and 52 seconds that I began to cry. Jesus wept, I began to weep. Tal. Tal. Sometimes you got to let there be air. It's like, let there be air. You serve a big God and your concepts be big. It be big concept with no air, and it's like some little things gets dropped along the way that misses the mark of the big picture, the big vision that you have. The movie lacked air. I was suffocating watching that movie. And I get it. These are real experiences, especially in the Black community, because whenever we talk about mental health and we talk about all these different, disparities that people can go through mentally, sometimes first of all, society will erase us, right? But sometimes we erase ourselves when we say things like, oh, that's like a white people thing. Somebody's really having like a mental breakdown. We'll be like, oh, that's a white people thing. That's like a white woman thing. We sometimes remove ourselves from the conversation around mental health. And so while society be trying to erase us, sometimes we do that to our own selves. Sometimes we decenter ourselves from a conversation that applies to everybody. Mental health, okay? Mental, challenges, mental disabilities, and everything in between does not discriminate. It does not discriminate on color. It does not discriminate on gender. It does not discriminate on age. It does not discriminate. Yes, Black people can experience hallucination, for sure. Black people can experience denial, for sure. 1000%. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Those stories need to be told from our perspective. 1000%. I agree with that. I agree with those stories being told from the perspective of also a Black woman. Because when we talk about Black erasure, Black women, I believe, experience that all the more. People don't believe our pain. People don't believe our struggles. People, you know, the strong Black woman, people don't believe that we are capable of struggling. And so they do not offer support. They do not offer resources. They do not offer all those things. Yes, this story, it was very important that it be told within the Black community, period. But it was also more important that it be told through the lens of a Black woman, because again, this is typically the group that gets overlooked. This is typically the group that's doing all of the things for everybody and nobody checking for us. So I get that. However, comma, period, one thing that is true about Black people in this country, right, in the Caribbeans, in Africa, all the African countries, in every part of the world, in Europe, in whatchamacallit, in Asia, in Australia, in every continent, one thing that is true about Black people is that even in our pain, even in our struggles, there are semblances of joy and humanity that while the world may choose to disregard, it's getting a little annoying for you to also then go ahead and not even attempt to include that moment, that glimpse of just resilience that comes with just like Black people. I'm not saying that should be the only story. I'm not saying that we should just focus on that and overlook our pain. I already said, I believe this story needed to be told, and it needed to be told from the perspective of a Black woman. But y'all, so you got a single mom, no father of her child, no baby daddy present, number one. This same Black woman, this same single mom, no real family for real like that for her. So there's no family, there's no resource. This is number two. This is like, we have the struggle of the single mom, no baby father present, no talk about the baby father. That's one. Then there's no family support. Like, she don't like her siblings, she don't really like her mama like that, and don't nobody like her. This layered on top of that. This baby broker than a joke. You're looking at the apartment and no AC and no nothing. So extreme poverty. So that's layered on top of that as well. Okay? Then we got a job with a terrible manager, minus the one friend, which I don't think I know her name, minus the one friend at the job. You got a terrorist of a manager. So we're dealing with, you know, crazy work environment. This is the same woman, right? This is the same woman. On the same day, she goes, has to leave her job. As she leaves her job, her child gets taken, which again, we're going to talk about how that wasn't even the case. The whole point of the movie, she was hallucinating. But on this same day, apparently her child gets taken from her. And then she gonna leave the building. Why you gonna have some rain outside? It's giving thunder. It's giving you. It ain't got nothing on Noah from the Bible. Rain. It's raining, y'all. It's pouring rain. And then on her way, now you have police brutality. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. She gets into a car accident. So that's like 6 things that's happening within a day. She gets into a car accident. Then she has to deal with police brutality. With the men, the police officer, the men that, you know, she has that, little accident with. That man is a police officer that now she has to engage with the dangers of being a Black woman, just like existing as a Black woman in pouring rain. That's happening. Okay? Mind you, it's still raining my Thai ad. Even the weather in Tyler Perry movies is dramatic. Even the weather. Okay? So then we just have 7 issues. lined up already, okay? And then let's go ahead and add the white police officer that comes, and instead of defending and being a safe space for her, even at least as a woman, now she's dealing with the double microaggressions that comes from the white woman not really having the balls and the courage to stand up for her fellow woman. So you have this negative experience that's happening to you in the hands of God. You have the police brutality. Then you have the protection of said police brutality happening to you. Okay? And then you leave there. You run to your job. Then you get fired from your job. From your terrorist of of a manager. You get fired from your job. Like, you get fired from your job. And then this terrorist, okay, this terrorist of a manager won't even give you the check. Mind you, we've already established you were poor. Like, you were poor. You were, I'm talking about Job poor. Everything took. At this point, you could have just called that baby Jobita. Because that's Job's long lost cousin. Everything took. Every damn thing took. The manager not going to give you your job. You poor at that point. So now you leaving the job only to go back home and you being evicted. Even the laws in this country as far as evictions don't really work like that. I'm sorry. My mom owns some property and she's had to evict people. It takes a minute, okay? My sister owns some property. To evict somebody, it's gonna take a minute. Even that moment, just extra telenovela drama. So then it's number 10. You're evicted. Y'all, all of this is happening. We are 18 minutes and 52 seconds into the movie. I kid you not. Okay, I kid you not. It is 18 minutes and 52 seconds into the movie. My teeth, ain't nobody seen them. A little chuckle, a little like, oh my gosh, like, no. I'm weeping. Okay? I am weeping the whole time because we got 10 layers of issues. She's evicted and it's raining, like it's pouring rain. It's pouring rain. But it don't end there. Why she gonna go back to the manager trying to get the money and now she gets robbed? So then 11. Now we are number 11 things that's happening. 11 traumatic things that's happening in this same day. Now they're getting robbed at gunpoint. The manager not even trying to give her the money. Now both of them getting robbed at gunpoint. And then now she killed 2 men. Number 12, she killed 2 men. Well, she killed one, and before she kills the other, the boss gonna decide to go ahead and frame her for the robbery. She kills 1 man, then she gets framed. Because remember, the manager gonna call the police talking about, oh, Janaea such and such, she's the one that orchestrated this whole shooting. Unannounced. Unannounced. And then she shoots another person. So now it's double homicide. Now she gonna shoot the boss. Double homicide. Y'all, this is like 14 issues just stacked on one black woman in a single day. And it don't end there. Then she gonna get to the bank, okay? She killed 2 people. She ain't even stole the money or nothing, just killed 2 people. Grab her check, okay? Gonna go down there to the benevolent, bank that's not so benevolent, okay? She gonna go there and our good sis Tessa won't cash the check. Tess, All you had to do was cash the check. $521. Ain't no sense, no nothing. $521. And all of this could have been avoided, but no. Tessa gone 2-0, Tessa's gyrating. So now we are number 15. Stacked up on one character. One character is going through all of these things in one singular day. And so now she robbing a bank. At gunpoint. She is now actively robbing the bank at gunpoint, all because Tessa would not cash $521. Sis, it wasn't even like she was asking you to cash out $10K. It was $521. Taraji. What's her name? Janea. Send me your address. Send me your address. I'm going to send you $522 to round it up for the woman of God. All of us were traumatized on that screen because Tessa could not cash out $521. Now you was being held at gunpoint. And here go Tessa. Tessa, where are your tears? We can't find them. Even Jesus wept. Tessa, where are your tears? You cannot see them. You couldn't figure out where your tears were. You couldn't figure out how to cash a check for $521, Tessa. And now you have all of us sitting on the couch like, dang, she robbing the people of God for $521. Ain't no extra change on the side. This is 15 issues that all happen within the first 25 minutes of the movie. No breath. Literally no air. Back to back to back to back to back. Do I believe that Black people experience these things? Yes. Do I believe that we experience all these things at once? On the same day? A bit extreme. I'm not gonna lie, a bit extreme. A little bit. A little bit. And so when people get online talking about how, like, you know, they felt seen by the movie and just like how much, you know, there's this, you know, quote in the movie, like, it's so expensive to be poor. Yes, I relate to that. Yes, I relate to the struggles of, you know, just like worrying sometimes about your safety as a Black woman, worrying about, you know, not being believed for certain things. Because even later on, we see how she's just like advocating for herself, like, I'm gonna come out of this bank if y'all remove that one police officer who promised he was going to go ahead and delete me, right? I definitely relate to having those anxieties, right? But like, when you're writing a movie, sometimes there has to be a balance and a delicate dance to not overly traumatize the characters themselves and also overly just like dump on your audience everything simultaneously, especially when that's like a trend of yours, low-key. There was no air in the movie, right? And am I saying that Mr. Tyler Perry should venture out and try to do, you know, more thrillers, more psychological thrillers, more twists and stuff? I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is it has to be done in a way that there's a delicate dance, right? When you're going through certain things mentally, I promise you, it don't take this much. It don't take you being evicted, losing your job, having your child get taken from you, not having the support of your family, police brutality, killing a robber, and then being accused of attempted robbery by your boss, then killing your boss, and then robbing a bank. It doesn't have to take all of that to make the point of she was already going through a lot and her mental health was not going to survive yet another thing. It does not need to take all that. As soon as the opening scene came about and I saw the noodles and I saw the dishes on the sink and I saw, the bed and I saw the fan, on the ceiling missing one of the blades, and then I saw the window that ain't got no AC, I knew already right then and there, like, okay, our good sis, we're walking into a situation that is incredibly painful, that is incredibly messy, that is incredibly capable of taking somebody off the edge. At least for me, that did it. So for you to go ahead and write, co-produce, direct, and co-direct a script where a woman gonna be a single mom, struggle financially, rob a bank, kill a robber, then get accused of robbery, then kill the boss, get evicted, lose the child, and then rob a bank for real in a day? Sir, where is the air? Sometimes you got to let there be air. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes you got to let there be air. But Taraji P. Henson, she was incredible. I could watch that woman do anything. Anything. She really conveyed the emotion. So I feel like when people are saying this movie was so touching, this movie was so beautiful, it's because of Taraji. It really is. She was able to convey all of that with such a delicate dance. She's an amazing actress, for sure. For sure. But the writing was a lot. The writing really was a lot. Sometimes certain dynamics, it don't even take such like big turning events. It felt like just big turning events, one after the other, one after the other. And I'm just kind of like she could have been evicted, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe the police thing and maybe the robbery. You added 2 shootings. Now she a killer on the run. All of that just packed into one. And I saw a lot of commentary online, people talking about how like, oh, why I always uncomfortable with the truth about us being portrayed on the TV. Then I have to ask, is this the truth about us? Or more so, is this the only truth about Black women? Because the trend is Black women in Tyler Perry movies, they're going to suffer. And they're going to suffer a lot. That's the trend. Your edges receded. I'm talking about a recession for your edges every time in a Tyler Perry movie. Is that the only representation? I'm not saying it cannot be represented. Don't go twisting my words. I'm not saying it cannot be represented. But is that the only way to represent Black women? And when you represent our struggles, do the struggles have to almost like just stacked up, one over the other, over the other, over the other, simultaneously? Is that just the way to represent us? And for the people sometimes saying like, y'all always hating on this Black man, he always doing all these things, he's always putting, money and, employment to a lot of these Black actresses. At least on my channel, I've never faulted him for that. I love that he creates opportunities for Black actors, Black actresses. I love that he creates those opportunities. I think my ask is, what would it look like if you open the writing pool to more Black writers, Black directors, right? Who are going to be able to come and give you yet another perspective. I'm not saying go hire, Brent, whatchamacallit, McFadden. I'm not asking that. But go work with other talents. Go work with other Black talents. If we are going to do this kind of like big themes, this kind of like big pictures, like, hallucination, mental health, and the struggles, and to actually, display and portray these characters, can we do it well? Can we do it beautifully? Because I'm going to share some of the little things that were just missed. Little things in the directing, little things in just like the scenes that were just missing. But again, I believe this movie was shot in like 4 days. I don't know how long it took him to write this entire movie, but his other movies, they take him less than 3 weeks. At most 2 weeks, he's done writing. His production, he's the only writer for his production. So you only have one eyes who's looking at certain things and be like, hey, let's actually make sure, like, oh, this was missed, like this was overlooked. Like, who's actually helping do that? So if we're gonna have, drama, we're gonna have like thriller, we're gonna have like, these big ideas, let's invite other people, other writers, other Black writers, collaborate with them, share the wealth, okay? So that we get quality work when we're representing these stories. When he talks about this movie, he really talks more about, these stories needing to be told. These stories needing to be told. And I agree. Like I said at the top of this movie, mental health affects Black women. Mental health affects Black people, Black men. It affects us. And so we need to be talking about how it affects us within our communities. Hallucination, yes. You can hallucinate as a Black person. You can. You can. You can really go through severe denial. Like, that can happen. And so when we're talking about these stories, when we're talking about the single mom stories, when we're talking about, growing up in poverty and how expensive it is to be poor, can we do it in a way that's a little bit more beautiful? Can we do it in a way that's not almost like you're trauma dumping on your audience? There was no air in the movie. We listed 15 issues that I could think of that were stacked up against this Black woman in a singular day. In a singular day. Even in our struggles, we have flow, we have rhythm, we have, that resilient joy that you cannot even explain in any other ways. The low smile, the low, just like the humanity in us. The movie was just like, I felt like I was trauma bonding the whole time for an hour and however many minutes, like an hour, 40, 30 minutes, however long the movie was. I felt like I was just like trauma bonding. Like, I felt like I was being dumped. So much was just like dumped on me. That's how it felt like as a movie. I felt emotionally exhausted. And this point could have been made without all the dramatic, big scene, big events. We gonna do a robbery, you gonna shoot 2 people, then you gonna get evicted, your child gonna be taken away from you, police brutality, microaggression from white women and their violence. It's just like, again, do we experience all of these things? For sure. Do we experience them in a day? Like, It just was a lot. Comment down below and let me know. It just was a lot. Did I see watching and appreciate the acting? For sure. Taraji P. Henson, she's phenomenal. I cannot emphasize how phenomenal she really is and how phenomenal she was in the movie. You know, Sherry Shepherd, she acted really beautifully. A good sis, Mrs. Detective. No, ma'am. What was that? What was that? It was terrible. I'm sorry. It was terrible. The acting was terrible. It just, she was the cop. And it felt like I was watching Tiana Taylor be a cop. It was horrible. And then the wig, like who did the wig? Tyler, did you do the costume too? Tyler, did you do the costume too? You gonna direct, co-produce, co-direct, edit, wardrobe, lighting, all by yourself. Did you do the wig too? It just was terrible. The entire police department, terrible. Terrible. And I've seen, especially the chief police. I've seen him in shows. I've seen him in movies. He's a great actor. Couldn't see that. Not based on this movie. Terrible. It was terrible. So I'm not sure who Tyler sat with, but during the interview, they asked him to just like address the criticism that he's gotten over and over again of making Black women suffer in his movies. And this is what he had to say.
I say nothing to those people who think that my films focus on the struggle of Black women, because they're right, it does. I'm in doing this. Let me tell you something. If I get an opportunity to put a Black woman on screen for people to see them in love, in happy, in joy, in pain, in struggle, what I'm doing is a service to all people, so that people will know that Black women are not just strong and one thing. They are all things, and they go through all of these different things. So to have an opportunity to be able to paint all of these pictures in all sides of us, something that I'm paying homage to my mother, to my aunt, to my sisters, and friends and cousins, and the things that they all went through. So that's what I would say to that.
I guess I'm waiting for the balance, the dance of like, we have our struggles, but we also have our joy, right? I'll give that to you in whatchamacallit, the other movie with Kerry Washington. Amongst the soldiers, you kind of got to see the laughter. You kind of got to see the joy. You kind of got to see a little bit more of the dancing. You kind of got to see a little bit more, right? But that's also based on, it's based on a true story, right? So while he may have written it, there was already a foundation that was laid that he couldn't overly Tyler Perry the whole story, right? That was the good dance. That was a good dance. They were still dealing with discrimination. They were still dealing with the hardships of life. But you could see the friendship. You could see you could see the laughter, the joy, the dancing, the camaraderie, right? Like you could see a little bit of that while still making the points that was being made. A lot of your movies lack that. A lot of your movies do. And I hope I'm not coming across as if I'm saying this from like a place of some kind of privilege. Someday I will share my story, even as far as like how I got into this country. Someday I'll share my story. I was not born in this country. So when we're talking about poverty and we're talking about not knowing where your next meal is gonna come from, baby, I get it. I get it. Trust and believe I get it. Because I've lived through that. I've experienced that 1000%. 1000%. For 5 years in my life, I didn't go to school. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't afford to. That's how poor we're talking. And dysfunctional relationships, seeing abuse, seeing like all this, like I've lived through a lot of things. Okay? My knees hurt because I've lived through a lot of things. But one thing I can promise you, with all of that going on, I still was not as traumatized as I was watching this movie. A lot. This was a lot. This was a lot. And so to me, it's becoming a thing of like, you just don't like sharing. That's what I think it's becoming. You just don't like sharing. And you are the biggest name, the biggest black name. When it comes to like movies, like you are the biggest name, like you have your own studio, you are the biggest name. And you could take us so much further. You just don't like sharing. You are the biggest name, like the biggest black name, at least one of the biggest black names, right, in Hollywood. When it comes to sharing our stories, you really have the ability, right? You have the money, you have the resources to tell a wide range of stories. But the problem is you just don't like sharing. Sharing is caring, and you low-key don't like sharing. You don't like sharing the credit. You don't like sharing the limelight. You don't like sharing the accolades. You don't like sharing that. You don't. And so when you hear people talk about how like, oh, he's paid all these black actors, he's paid all these black actresses and all the things. Yes, nobody's negating that. If you listen to Taraji P. Henson, she's talking about how like she's only gotten paid the most by Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is the only person that has paid her. Beautiful. I think that's great. And that's part of the reason why I still be watching the movies, because again, in so many other cases, I don't have a way of seeing a lot of my faves. I just don't. Hollywood is a crazy place. It's an even crazier place for black people, period. But it's an even crazier place for just like black women. So I get it. And I thank you for putting them in your movies. And I'm asking if it will be possible for you to put on a little bit more black writers, black male writers, black female writers, black, queer writers, like just black writers, to give you a little bit more of a fresh perspective. But the problem is you don't like sharing. You don't. Like, dang, like you got Netflix. That's like one of the largest, streaming platform. And I came across this article, just like learning a little bit more about the deal that he has with, Netflix, as far as just like, the movies that they can turn around, right? And this came directly from your own website. It's gonna say, Tyler Perry strikes multi-year first look film deal with Netflix. Coming in on the heels of his 2022 full movie signing with Amazon Studios, okay? So before the Netflix deal, you already had a full movie signing with Amazon Studio. Yet another big streaming platform. What would it have looked like if out of those 4 movies, maybe you got 2 movies that were just like strictly you, and then you allowed 2 other movies where, yes, you are the name behind it, but you also collaborate with other writers, right? Tell your stories of, maybe the way you grew up, your upbringing, like, the shows that should be writing in 2.5 seconds. Like, I'm talking about 2 weeks. The weather hasn't even changed. Tyler Perry has written 75 different episodes. Like, how about you do that so you could have, your own little thing? But how about allow other, writers, collaborate with other women? You got Ava DuVernay, you got, Issa Rae. I'm just thinking out loud. The guy with the movie Sinners, what's his name? Ryan Coogler, like you have him. You have so many other talents, at least the big talents that we know. But if you really search, I'm sure there are other untold black stories from smaller writers that do not have the platform. What would it look like if you partnered with those smaller, writers and directors, partnered with them for at least 2 of the movies that you had with Amazon. What would that have looked like? But you don't like sharing. Like sharing is caring, and you do not care to share, sir. We just got to call it what it is. It's certain stories that you don't have the range for. This movie, Straw, that was one of them. It was way too packed. The movie was, it was like 15 conflicting plots in one movie based on one person's life in a day. That's a lot. Coming in on the heels of his 2022 full movie signing with Amazon Studios, Tyler Perry has struck a new multi-year first look deal with Netflix. He will write, direct, and produce features for the streamer, and after working with Netflix extensively in recent years, audiences can look forward to his upcoming film 6888, or that's the other movie, 6888 and Mea Culpa. This is another article talking about his collaboration with Netflix. This is what it's going to say. Tyler Perry's new Netflix film sets exciting record for the director. In 2023, acclaimed filmmaker Tyler Perry signed a new deal with Netflix. The multi-year plan included 8 feature films that were set for release on the streaming service, and his latest directorial effort set a record for the director. In December, Perry released his latest film on the platform, The 6888, which also became Perry's most viewed title on the platform so far. Tyler Perry is a prolific director whose credits also include acting, producing, and writing. Y'all forgot to do the wig installation, okay? Because one thing about Tyler Perry, he gonna write, he gonna produce, he gonna direct, he gonna edit, he gonna do the lighting, he gonna do the set design, and he gonna do the wardrobe. All them wigs, that's Tyler Perry. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. That's Tyler Perry. In 2023, Perry's deal with Netflix included more exclusive films, and so far, he has released 5 films on the platform. This includes the 2020's A Fall from Grace, terrible movie. Again, the actress, I'm forgetting her name. She did such a good job, but again, same concept, same thing. So many things stacked up against each other. Or like, it's almost like the themes are competing with each other almost, and there's no edge. Just like one thing after the next, after the next. And one thing about Tyler Perry, a black woman gonna either end up being shot, or they gonna get their kung fu on. Like somebody gonna molly whoop your ass in the Tyler Perry movie every time. That was The Fall from Grace. That was The Fall from Grace. And then the 2022's Madea Homecoming, the last installment of his long-running Madea franchise, Jasmine's Blues, and 2024's Mea Culpa. Mea Culpa, another terrible one. And the 6888, a little bit more rushed for me, but that was at least one of his better works, at least in my opinion. So far we got 5 films. It's 3 left. Is it too late? Is it too late to collaborate with somebody? Is it? Because the problem isn't that people are not appreciating him for hiring black actors. I want to reiterate that. I love that, because again, otherwise I wouldn't see a lot of my faves. And that's just the reality. Without him, so many of my faves, I wouldn't see in a lot of movies. Let's keep it a buck. Not many people are hiring black actors or black actresses especially, okay? So you are the one person that's able to provide them with opportunities. Can we level the opportunities? Can we not sometimes make, incredible actors or actresses look terrible just in lieu of poor writing and poor, directing, right? Like a movie like Mea Culpa. I was so excited to see Kerry Washington. She was terrible in it, but I can't fully blame the actress. We gotta look at the storyline. We gotta look at the plots that keeps jumping without breath, without air. A Fall from Grace, the same thing. Right? Not every actress is at the caliber of Taraji P. Henson. She's a powerhouse. Okay? So she can make things that's like mediocre come across as excellent. But the excellence is in the writing. The excellence is in the movie itself. The excellence is the acting. That's what was great and touching about Shaw. Not the 15 or more competing stories. Can we share with other Black writers? Can we? Can we? Because the problem is that we're not sharing. Fresh eyes. Sometimes fresh eyes are helpful to anybody. Fresh eyes, like, you know, somebody else to look at the work, like, it's helpful. So, you know, certain things are not easily missed. My other biggest thing with Shaw in particular, the competing scripts were already a lot. But then when they end up doing the big reveal, when Janaea's mom calls, talk about why the FBI at my house. Girl, your child died. She died last night. So I was like, wait a minute. So this child is not even real? That switch, again, poorly executed. Poorly executed. So you mean to tell me that this woman, her child died the night before, and the grandmama knew, and somehow the grandmama just left her by herself in her apartment? Like she just was left by herself the whole time. Because by that measure, it will make a little bit more sense to me if she was hallucinating for a little while, for like a little period of time. Let's say maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Like she cannot believe the loss of her child and she's really losing it, right? But like the child died the night before, let's say 10 p.m. At 7 a.m., this baby is by herself. Nobody has called to check in on her. Nobody is at the house. Nobody's there with her to know. Because then you end up with the scene when they're walking out of the building. This woman, she's doing all these gestures where she's like, you know, come on, trying to tell Aria, the daughter, like, come on, let's go, come on, let's go. You got the extras. There was a lady sitting in the balcony, and you had 2 dudes. You had 2 dudes who were sitting by, like, you know, the stairs. From the shot of the video, it looked like everything was normal, even when they go to play it back. Because in the beginning, I'll give it to you, you guys wanted to fool us, like, okay, this is just like from her perspective, this is what everything looked like. But like even then, when you play it back, these people cannot clearly see, like, this girl is talking to herself. She's like, come on, let's go. And they're behind, not flinching, not moving at all.
Please pick that up. Don't drag it.
I want the clear one.
Oh, come on. I don't have time for this today, all right?
Something as subtle as that. Nobody seemed a little off in that scene, right? Like, none of the neighbors seemed off in that scene. In the first half of the movie, none of the neighbors seem a little off. They don't seem to be like, girl, like, nobody seems suspicious of the event at all. That switcheroo, and to go back and tell us, like, oh, all this time, the child wasn't even alive to begin with. It felt like such a rush of a U-turn. It felt like I just turned from my house and I landed in Yemen. It felt so abrupt. It felt so abrupt. It felt like there wasn't enough, you know, signs that we can clearly look back on and be like, duh. I can name a few. Like the opening scene, you have the two plates, right? Like you have the the plate that was, that somebody ate the food, and then the another full, like a full plate that nobody ate it. That to me, yes, it's an indicator, but not a big enough for me to think like, you know what, that's it. The child, like, how many times do you put something that you don't even care for? Like, I'm not really feeling this, and we're just leaving it alone. The dishes were, they were piled up. For all we know, it could have been from any other day. That was one thing. And then the other one, you had, whatchamacallit, the principal of the school who was waving a little shocked. But then you spoke about the $40, and you spoke about how there was embarrassment, with her child at the school. So easily that could also be a thing of like, who's this girl? She's out here waving and she owe me money for the lunch school of the kid. I don't know. Just again, not a big enough of an indicator for when you go to give us like that big, that big turn for us to be like, you know what, that makes sense. Like I'm clocking it, like it's just big ideas, big moves. No air and poorly executed. Little flaws in the writing, little flaws in the directing, and it's showing up. Another little ball drop that I caught that was just kind of like, okay, when she gets to her job, while the manager is mean, the other lady seems to be like a friend. And the lady gonna ask her like, how is she? Like, how is your daughter? And she's like, she's fine. She gonna go through all these different things. She gonna be fine. She takes out the money and was like, okay, go ahead and use this for her medication. She's like, oh no, it's okay. It's fine. A little subtle thing. And then later on, when the detective goes to ask the lady after the shooting has happened, and, Madame police detective with the terrible wig, gonna be there questioning her at the store about the shooting that just occurred. She gonna say, well, I heard the gunshots and then I ran. If you heard gunshots and you ran, you mean to tell me you gonna come back and stand on the crime scene? A little annoying, but okay. But as they're questioning her, she's talking about how like she's been through a lot. She's a good mom. She will never know this. She has nobody in this entire world but me. So this is almost like solidifying like, okay, this person, she's not just a co-worker. She's like a friend, like a legitimate, like this, my friend, like we go together real bad. How come she ain't knew the daughter was there? She knew the daughter was sick. That's why she asked about it. Because later on, y'all don't ever go back to really address that moment. Like maybe she was also imagining that conversation with her friends, like the co-worker friends, right? You go back and address the mean, the mean manager who catches her on the phone and she's acting like, oh, it's my daughter's school. Whole time it's not the daughter's school. It's somebody talking to her about the bills or something like that. Y'all don't ever go back to the conversation, and y'all don't ever make sense as to why like this woman can come out of her mouth and say, this girl has nobody but me in this entire world. I'm all she has. And I knew her daughter was sick. I knew enough of her daughter being sick that I wanted to give her my own money, even though I didn't have any of for myself. I was going to give her my own money for her daughter, right? But somehow these friends, who was all Janaea had, didn't know that this daughter was dead. But her estranged mother, who she don't like and she don't even mess with, is the one that knew that the daughter died last night. It's something as subtle as that. And I don't want to come across as I'm trying to just like pick on this man or this movie. But something as subtle as that would have made a little bit more sense if at least the call came from the friends. Because by your own words, this woman is all Janaea has. by the script because that lady read it in the script. Let's play it.
How is she?
My baby's fine.
Here, take it.
No, I can't take that from you. You barely making it yourself.
I can spare it. It'll help out with her medicine. She's a good person. She's a good mother. She wouldn't do nothing like this. Janiyah is my friend.
I have officer ask you some more questions.
Y'all gotta help her. She dealing with a lot of shit. And I'm the only one she got.
In her own literal words, I am all Janiyah has. I'm all she has. She's a great mom. How's your daughter? Here's money for medication. That's a relationship. The only relationship that we see her actually have that could, to me at least, explain a certain level of like maybe vulnerability that she might have to share or have this person know that she was at the hospital, how are things looking and all that stuff. It would have made more sense to me that the friend be the one to break the news. Because if you think about even how the news is broken to whatchamacallit, Janiyah, when the mama calls, it's so nonchalant. And I'm just kind of like, okay, she gonna be on the phone talking about, Janiyah, why you robbing them people? Why the FBI at my house? She gonna be like, mama, I ain't trying to rob them people. I'm just trying to get the money for the daughter's medication. Aria needs the medication, this and the third. The mama on the phone gonna be like, girl, she died last night. Very nonchalant. Very nonchalant. Which to me, again, is like, if this woman is so not involved in the life of her own daughter, that her granddaughter gonna die the night before, and she gonna leave her own daughter by herself, like literally the night before. Let's say the daughter died at 10 p.m. At 7 a.m., this girl still had to go ahead and wake up, go do the pretend drop-off at the school. Mind you, this is a character that we've not seen or really gotten insights of at all throughout the movie. And she's the one that breaks the news. And she breaks the news in such a nonchalant, I don't even care about this person, I don't care about her. And the way she even dropped it, to me, it low-key suggested like, wait a minute, did Janiyah have hallucinations in the past? Is this not, her first time experiencing this? Were there other signs? And maybe the mom just had to be like, girl, she died. To like snap her out of it, like, what don't we also know about Janiyah? Like character development, like develop your characters a little bit more. Give us the backstory. Give us like in subtle ways, give us the backstory of why she would not have the support of her own family, why the friends, the co-worker would be all she has. But that's not what Tyler gonna do. Tyler gonna give us 15 different big scenarios. Just like dumping, big trauma dumps, like big events, one after the other, one after the other. So you took us on this whole journey. You created this whole journey. She's a single mom. She's struggling. Her child has asthma. She just needs to do what's right by her child. With all these different competing plots, the robbery, the murders, the police brutality, the eviction, the Noah rain. It's just like, you gave us all these things, took us on all these little journeys, and then out of nowhere, you just did a turn, like a big turn. And then drop this big news of like, oh, she was hallucinating all this time. But along the way, you failed to solidify little things that'll be like, oh, duh, I see it now. The little I see it now moments, they're not big enough to warrant, okay? The noodles, the way from the principal, To me, that's not big enough to give us an indicator of like, oh, duh. Something as subtle as even in the beginning, when they were coming out of the whatchamacallit, they were coming out of the house with the daughter. And then I'm just kind of like, first of all, Tyler Perry, did you watch my reviews? What Sinbad name gonna be Benny with no teeth? I know I had me a gap. What Aria that wasn't really alive for the whole movie? What Aria gonna turn around and be like, where your teeth at, Benny? And I'm just kind of like, dang, Tyler, what I did to you? Why you gonna use my name and take out all my teeth? I have a gap. I still have the rest of my teeth. That was so rude. I took that to be very, very, very just like me. How you gonna write that as a name and then not give me no teeth? Tal. That ain't right. Yeah, now? Why have no teeth in your movie? Why my namesake ain't had no teeth in your movie, Tyler? That ain't right for the woman of God. I only have a gap. I'm not missing a tooth. Why you gonna do me like that, Tyler? It wasn't right. It was not right. Yeah, now? But like even in that beginning scene, you see her when she's just like waving like, oh, come on, Aria, let's go. Come on, Aria. Sinbad is sitting there just kind of like not shaking, not move, like nothing is looking different at all. And, you know, Janaea opens the door, the car door, lets Aria in, but she doesn't lock the door herself. So the passenger door is still open. She goes to talk to Sinbad. Okay, give Sinbad some mind like, oh, you know, don't go drink the liquor, whatever the case is. As she comes back, the passenger door that she had left open for the child that being got her Lazarus on last night, why the door gonna be shut closed? Who shut it? The child not alive. Y'all, let's play it.
Okay. Oh, so you can give him money, but you can't pay me nothing. I already found the bitch. Stay and get a break at 10. When I get that break, I'm gonna bring the money right to you.
Who closed the doors? Who closed the doors? That to me, as a viewer, I'm like, okay, you can't go back to that moment and then tell me like, oh, okay, you know, she was hallucinating this whole time the child was there. The child was not there because the child closed the door. Let's look at the playback. Maybe again, I'm hallucinating. But we all saw that. Who closed the door? Who did? You reinforce this idea. With every scene, you reinforce this idea that this child was very much present. And then you drop the part where the child was not present. The child was, you know, the mother was hallucinating this whole time. But you do it so poorly that I'm able to pick up like little nuances that contradicts the part where the child wasn't alive. So now I'm just having to believe you saying that the child wasn't alive this whole time, and I can find flaws that will not back this big idea, this big drop that you dropped on your audience. Big concept, poorly executed. And why was it poorly executed? Because you had 15 competing ideas in a movie, 15 competing events, robbery, murder, another robbery, police brutality, eviction, child gets taken away, loses your job, you know, abusive manager, so many different things happening all at once. All at once. Let's look at the when they played that moment back with Sinbad. Let's see if that's even addressed. So that moment doesn't get addressed. The moment with Benny with no teeth, according to the child that was alive but then dead. So she's just like backing up, backing up. None of the people around seem a little off. The only thing we have is the noodles, and we also have the whatchamacallit, the wave from the principal. And we just have to believe you telling us, like, hey, the child been got her Lazarus on last night, according to the mama who ain't got no rapport with the daughter, and then abandon her all day long. Like we didn't see no phone call, no nothing. And then out of nowhere, the mama gonna call, let us know very nonchalant, girl, the girl died last night. Meanwhile, the only relationship, the only rapport we see her have is with the coworker who says, I'm all she has. So you gave us two things for this big drop, yet you gave us 15 different just plot and plot and plot and plot. Comment down below. Am I making any sense? Am I? Because this was a lie. I'm sorry. This was a lie. It was a big concept, poorly executed. And part of the poor execution was because of all the conflicting, because of all the plots that were stacked up against each other. You got 3 more movies with Netflix. Could we have kept the robbery and the shooting for another one of your cast that you got to go ahead and show their stories? It's a lie. I recently watched whatchamacallit, Forever. Literally one of the best shows portraying Black people that I've ever seen. And you had a single mom in there too. You did. You had her struggling too. But there was a way in which there was joy. There was that, the relationship, the friendship that she even formed with, the family of her daughter's boyfriend, just like something. It was very much real, very much Blackness, very much, stories within stories, but it all made sense. It all went together. It wasn't a lie just like thrown and dumped at the viewer. It wasn't. And we're not asking you to give up your position. We're just asking for a little sharing, a little collaboration. That's it. And we're asking for time. Take time. Perhaps 2 weeks is not long enough for you to, catch a lot of these nuances. Perhaps shooting an entire movie in 4 days, perhaps that's not long enough to catch some of these little things. Perhaps other people, direct. Perhaps other people do other things. It's like little things. Yes, I get it. We need to show, Black people and sometimes how we struggle with mental health and all the things that we go through in life. We need to show that. But let there be air, Tyler. Let there be air. For the love of God. Alrighty, that's it on me, y'all. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. I hope you guys hear my heart. I'm not trying to tear down a Black man because I can already see y'all going that route. One thing about y'all, Black men can never, be critiqued. They can never be given constructive feedback. Every time somebody says anything, especially about a Black man that y'all love, it's always like they're always trying to tear. I'm not trying to tear nobody down. I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. I don't. I just don't. I don't. So I hope y'all heard my heart. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. Let me know your honest thoughts of the movie. Did you watch it? How many times did you watch it? Did you cry? Because one thing about Tyler, he gonna make sure we gonna weep. Every time we gonna weep. Okay? Please subscribe, and I'm gonna go ahead and see you guys on the next one. Bye, Z's.